They're a joke. They got no business wearing a badge.
These leaders are not leaders.
Reaction from Uvalde as the Texas House Committee investigating the shooting addresses the community. And we're seeing a new perspective from that day after the city releases edited body camera video from Uvalde police officers.
There were multiple systemic failures.
And we take you through the 77-page preliminary report given to families and then released to the public. Good evening, everyone. I am Xavier Walton. An important day full of developments in Uvalde as more information is released after the shooting at Robb Elementary School took the lives of 19 children, 2 teachers nearly 2 months ago. Tonight, we do have team coverage. Our Anieli Ruiz is in Uvalde. Cheryl Mercedes has been poring over the report released by the House Committee. But we start with our Marcelino Benito, who has the newest body cam video of the police's response. Marcelino?
Well, Xavier, the city of Uvalde suddenly releasing more than 3 hours of edited body cam footage late this afternoon. Some faces have been blurred and some audio removed. What you're about to see are some of the key moments we found so far. They paint a picture of that day's chaos from multiple angles and from the perspective of multiple Uvalde police officers. We want to warn our viewers some may find what they're about to see disturbing.
Shots fired in the building. I heard somebody say somebody shot in the head.
Chaos and confusion.
Hey, we're going in or we're staying here? What are we doing?
As 25 Uvalde police officers descended on Robb Elementary from multiple directions.
Oh, shots fired! Get inside! Go, go, go!
No hesitation as Officer Coronado seen rushing towards the campus. Video released last week from hallway surveillance cameras captured activity on the north side of the building. We watch officers storm in and approach the door, but soon take fire and retreat.
Am I bleeding? Am I bleeding? Am I bleeding?
Officer Canales' body camera captured the moment the gunman shot towards them, and they backed away to safety.
That's my wife's classroom.
Teacher Eva Morales' husband, UCISD Officer Ruben Ruiz, was in that hallway too. The urgency clearly heard in Canales' voice.
Dude, we gotta get in there. GPS is sitting there. We gotta get in there. He just keeps shooting.
More officers arrive on that side of the campus. They're captured on Jesus Mendoza's body cam.
Police department. It's the police.
As they begin searching classrooms for students, DPS rescues the boy who initially spotted the gunman hiding in the restroom. He's rushed out to safety. On the opposite end of the campus was Officer Coronado. When he first stormed into the building, you see a dust cloud after the shooter fired his first 100 rounds. 20 minutes later, his camera gives us a look at the rescue effort underway.
Go, go, run over there.
As students pulled out of windows to safety. Officers also check for students inside classrooms. Rooms dark, backpacks and books left behind when the shooting started. It's Coronado's cam that provides our first look at UCISD Chief Pete Arredondo in the hallway on the south side of the building. Minutes later, the chief and another officer seen trying to unlock a classroom. Multiple keys tried, none of them worked. Meanwhile, the clock kept ticking. At 12:21, nearly an hour after first officers arrived on scene, more shots are fired. No one moves in again. Instead, you hear officers trying to communicate with the shooter.
Mr. Ramos, can you hear us? Mr. Ramos, please don't hurt anyone. These are innocent children.
Despite muffled responses earlier, hard to hear on the body cam, this time the shooter didn't respond. 5 minutes later, Arredondo again on camera on the phone. 7 minutes later, Border Patrol's tactical unit moved in to kill the shooter at 12:50, 73 minutes after first officers stepped foot inside that building.
In one officer's body cam, you hear dispatch say the shooter's uncle was on 911 and requesting to speak to him to try and talk him down. And in another video, we see officers inside the gunman's grandmother's home. You'll recall he shot her first before heading to Robb Elementary. Again, this is just a small part of what these body cams reveal. We're still combing through a lot of it for you. Xavier?
So telling, Marcelino, thank you. And the mayor of Uvalde, Don McLaughlin, issued a statement on that decision to release body camera footage. Here are 3 major takeaways. Starting with number 1, the mayor agrees that with the House Committee's report that the community waited simply too long for answers and transparency. Tuesday marks 8 weeks since the shooting. All right, let's get to number 2 here. And the city has placed Lieutenant Mariano Pargas on administrative leave. Now, Pargas was the acting chief of police for the city on that May 24th day, the day of the shooting. And now to number 3 here. The city has ordered an internal investigation into the police department's actions and policies as well as procedures. The city has hired Jesse Prado, a private investigator with decades of police experience. And now we get to the newly released report, the findings from the Uvalde school shooting. Investigative reporter Cheryl Mercedes has spent the day combing through every single page. And Cheryl, there were nearly 400 officers that responded that day.
That's correct, Xavier. 376 to be exact, from 23 different law enforcement agencies. And the report from the Texas House of Representatives Investigative Committee found that there were, quote, systemic failures that went far beyond one person or one police force.
Chaos, cluster, two words used by officers to describe the more than 1 hour police response to Robb Elementary. The committee's report indicates no one took command of the scene. The school's active shooter policy, which was signed by School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo, stated the chief will become the person in control of the efforts of all law enforcement and first responders that arrive at that scene. But Arredondo testified, while you're in there, you don't title yourself. My approach was responding as an officer. Chief Arredondo testified that he immediately began to think of the attacker as being cornered and the situation as one of a barricaded subject, and didn't think there were kids in the classroom. But according to audio from Sergeant Coronado's body camera, he later contradicts himself.
What we did, we cleared off the rest of the building so we wouldn't have any more besides what's in there, obviously.
While there was miscommunication among responders, the committee also noted several breakdowns in the school security protocols. One being, had school personnel locked the doors as the school's policy required, that could have slowed his progress long enough to receive alerts, hide children, and lock doors. The attacker entered through the west entrance of the school, but the committee learned the exterior doors on the east and south sides of the building were also unlocked. The attacker still would have had the ability to enter the building. A coach reported shots fired over the radio, but when the principal tried to use an app to notify the school, she had difficulty making the alert because of a bad Wi-Fi signal, and she never tried to communicate the lockdown over the school's intercom. As for the gunman, the committee reports the attacker had no experience with firearms and that the shooting was likely the first time he fired one. And the shooting took place in the shooter's former fourth grade classroom, where his former teacher testified he claimed to be a victim of bullying.
The committee also reported it disagrees with a recent report by the National Alert Center, which revealed an officer outside of the school was within firing range of the suspect before he entered in the building, but waited for permission from a supervisor to be able to fire at that person. Now, the state committee learned through witness testimony that the person was not the suspect. Rather, it was a coach who was ushering kids inside of the school.
So much new information in that 77-page report. And Marcelino, we're not only reading it, but we're seeing it too in those new videos.
And that's completely eye-opening. We're seeing both sides of the campus, the response on both sides. We're seeing Arredondo for the first time, and law enforcement getting a very hard rap about their response, but we're finally seeing the good they did that day. They did get a lot of students out alive.
Several heroic efforts, and it was, you know what, another emotional day for families and the entire Uvalde community. Our Aniele Ruiz joining us live now. And Aniele, you have been there several times since that May 24th day and through the weekend. What did you see and what did you hear from families today?
Xavier, the frustration for these families continues after watching these videos and after getting the report today. The families tell me they know there was failure, but now they're asking for accountability. It was yet another day filled with lots of anger and frustration for the families of Uvalde. For almost 8 weeks, they've been waiting for answers to try and figure out what happened inside the school on that terrible day. Sunday, they went to the junior college to finally meet with the Texas House committee members to discuss the investigation.
Hopefully, after all the facts come out and all the information is collected, that they'll find who was to be held responsible for that, and we'll start the healing process.
But some parents weren't allowed past the door. Turns out they weren't on a list.
I was really mad. I told them there that I was father to one of the deceased, and they said that my name wasn't on the list and I wasn't welcome there, that I had to get out. And I don't know who was overseeing that, but it's not right. I'm mad. I feel like they're making a mockery of me being a parent or the relationship that I have with my daughter, and I'm super mad about it.
Emery Joe Garza's dad wasn't the only one that was kicked out today. Annabelle Rodriguez's dad also was not allowed inside.
Answer what happened to my baby, you know, and now I'm not going to know what happened, you know, because I wasn't on the list.
When we asked the mayor of Uvalde why some parents weren't allowed inside, this is what he had to say.
You're asking me something that you need to be talking to them and to the rest of the family. I have no control over that.
So who's inviting these families to these events?
The families made the list of who was coming to that deal.
So the families get to pick and choose who gets information?
It was immediate family that were allowed there. Again, you're asking me something that I can't tell you on the parents.
They're telling me they're pointing fingers at you, so that's what
Well, I mean, point the fingers at me.
But again, the families left with one goal in mind.
Somebody needs to be held accountable. You know, who that is, I don't know. You know, we're going to find out.
And again, these families continue to push for accountability. They tell me they will attend all the meetings necessary to get that, even if they get kicked out. And by the way, tomorrow there is a school board meeting where we expect to see another packed house. Reporting live in Uvalde, Anayeli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
Still a lot of raw emotions nearly 2 months later. Anayeli Ruiz, they're live in Uvalde. Thank you so much.